You've told me one of your favorite exercises is a Ben Franklin exercise, where we study everything about American English pronunciation to help you improve your listening comprehension and understand how to sound more American. So today we're going to do a Ben Franklin exercise on a monologue about going out to dinner. First, we'll listen to the full monologue. Then there will be an in-depth analysis. After that, you study everything about stress, reductions, and linking. There will be a listen and repeat section. This is where you get to practice out loud and see if you can imitate what I've done. First, the monologue. Tonight, David and I are going out to dinner with two friends, a double date. We both got sitters and we got a reservation at Park at 6:45. I already know what I'm going to get. They have the best French onion soup I've ever had. I don't know how long it takes them to make it, but it's worth every minute. It's going to be so great to enjoy a nice meal catching up with these friends. Now the analysis. Tonight, David and I are going out to dinner with two friends, a double date. Tonight, David and I are going out to dinner. Tonight, I stress that, the time, when this is going to happen. David and I, a little bit longer. Going out to dinner, go a little bit longer. Din, a little bit longer. With two friends. Two, I stress that. I bring the pitch of my voice up. Two friends. Friends, a little bit longer. Tonight, David and I are going out to dinner with two friends. Tonight, David and I are going out to dinner with two friends. Tonight, David and I are going out to dinner with two friends. And the rest of the words are said pretty quickly. Please notice the word tonight is pronounced with a schwa in the first syllable. So many people pronounce that tonight, today, tomorrow. But they're all t. Just the T and the schwa, tonight, tonight. Tonight. The second T is a stop T because it's followed by a word that begins with a consonant. That would be David. Tonight, David. Tonight, David and I. Tonight, David and I. Tonight, David and I. David and I. Now, whenever we have two things that we're putting together with and, it's very common to reduce the word and, which I did. I changed the vowel to the schwa and we drop the D. David and I. David and I. And then the N links right into the next word, which is the I as in by diphthong. David and I. 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 The word are. David and I are. Are is more like David and I are. David and I are going out. Said more quickly. David and I are going out. David and I are going out. David and I are going out. I'm going to put a little bit more length on out as well. Out to dinner. So here we have two T's, and I combine those with just one true T. Out to. So a stop and then a release. Out to dinner. And the word to is reduced. We use the schwa instead of the u vowel. So it's not to, it's t. Out to dinner. Are going out to dinner. Are going out to dinner. Are going out to dinner with two friends. The word with said very quickly, with. So the TH is made very simply here. It's very fast. With two. Now here TWO is pronounced with the U vowel, and this word never reduces, unlike this word, which is pronounced with the U vowel, which almost always reduces, so it's actually the schwa instead of the U vowel. With two friends. With two friends. With two friends. A double date. A double date. A double date with a stop T. So we have the word a with a schwa, a double date. And in this thought group, these three words are very linked together. We have an unstressed syllable, then a stressed syllable, then an unstressed syllable, and a stressed syllable. Da-da, a double date, a double date, a double date, a double date, a double date. We both got sitters. We both got sitters. Both and sit are the most stressed word there. Sitters, the double T there is a flap T. That's short for babysitter, someone to watch our kids. We both got sitters. The T in got, a stop T. Why? Because the next word begins with a consonant. We both got sitters. We both got sitters. We both got sitters. We both got sitters, and we got a reservation at Park at 6:45. And we got a reservation at Park at 6:45. Park. Probably the most stressed word in that whole sentence. The word and reduces. Did you hear that? I dropped the T. And we got a reservation at, and we got a reservation at, and we got a reservation at, and we got a reservation, and we gotta, and we gotta, and we gotta. Dropped the D. The T here turned into a flap to connect the words, linking right into the schwa, gotta, and we gotta, and we gotta, and we gotta. Those 4 words are all flatter in pitch. They're unstressed, and they all link together. And we got a reservation. The stressed syllable of res is a little bit longer, a little bit clearer. Reservation. Notice the letter S here makes the Z sound. Reservation. And we got a reservation at Park at 6:45. And we got a reservation at Park at 6:45. And we got a reservation at Park at 6:45. So I have the word at twice. Both times it's reduced. It's not the a vowel, but it's the schwa. And it's a stop T. It park. It's 6:45. So it's not at, but it. Both times it's a stop T because the next word begins with a consonant. Here it's a P, and here it's the S sound. At Park at 6:45. At Park at 6:45. At Park at 6:45. 6:45. 6:45. Whenever you're giving a time, it's the end of the time, the last part of the time that's stressed. So 45. If I was going to say, let's say this, then I would say 7:30, and the final word 30 would be the most stressed. Here the final word is 5, so it's 6:45. 5 being the most stressed. 6:45. 6:45. 6:45. And notice the T in 40 is a flap T. We flap the T if it comes after an R before a vowel. 40. 6:45. 6:45. 6:45. I already know what I'm going to get. I stress the word already the most. I already know what I'm going to get. I already know what I'm going to get. This is a little unusual. I'm stressing it because we haven't even arrived at the restaurant and I've already chosen what I'm going to eat. So that's why already is coming out the most. Now, this word is normally stressed already. I already know. But sometimes we do stress the first syllable. I already know. I already knew that. I already know. I already know what I'm going to get. I already know what I'm going to get. I already know what I'm going to get. I pronounce this word without an L. Already. It's like a tighter aw as in law vowel. Already. I already know. You can do this as well. I think it simplifies the word for non-native speakers, and it's a good little shortcut to that word. Already. Already. I already know. I already know. I already know. I think I also make know a little bit longer. Know what I'm. What and I'm both flatter, said faster, not as clear. Flap T connecting the two words. Know what I'm. I already know what I'm going to get. I already know what I'm going to get. I already know what I'm going to get. I definitely could have said what I'm gonna get. Gonna. Going to is such a good candidate for getting reduced. Gonna. But instead, I said going to get. Going, so I did a full O as in no diphthong. Going to. Then I made a flap T. And we make a flap T in the word to quite a bit when the sound before is voiced. And here it's the NG sound that is voiced. So rather than saying going to, I said going to, going to. So my tongue is in position for the NG. That's the back of the tongue. And then the front of the tongue flaps. Going da, 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 get. Going to get. Stop T at the end of get. Why? Because it's at the end of a thought group. Going to get. Going to get. Going to get. Going to get. They have the best French onion soup I've ever had. Okay, I really stress the word best, don't I? They have the best French onion soup I've ever had. Ever. They have the best French onion soup I've ever had. They have the best French onion soup I've ever had. They have the best French onion soup I've ever had. They have the. These three words a little less clear, flatter in pitch. And then I bring out the word best and I emphasize the B and I move my head as I say the word to say this is an important word. It is the best. They have the best. They have the best. They have the best French onion soup I've ever had. Soup I've ever had. So I notice I close my lips for the P, but I don't really release. Soup, soup. You don't hear that escape of air. Right into the next word, I've. Soup I've ever had. Soup I've ever had. So there was no release of the P there. Soup, P, is a stop consonant. Soup I've ever had. Soup I've ever had. Soup I've ever had. I don't know how long it takes them to make it. I don't know how long it takes them to make it. I don't know how long it takes them to make it. Those are my two longer, most stressed words there. I emphasize the H. I make it a little stronger than normal to bring out the stressed word. Let's look at this phrase. I don't know. There are several ways we can pronounce that. We can say, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. That's the most conversational, the least clear. That's not how I do it. I make it a little bit more clear. I don't know how long it takes them to make it. I don't know how long it takes them to make it. I don't know how long it takes them to make it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Don't, a little bit longer, the higher stress there, the higher pitch. I don't know. Don't. And a little stop for the T there. I don't know. I don't know. If I didn't make that tiny break, it would sound like this. I don't know. Don't know. But instead there is a tiny break. I don't know. Don't know. Don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how long it takes them to make it. Them becomes them. How long it takes them to make it. Them. I could have dropped the TH sound. That's a common reduction. I didn't, but I did reduce the vowel. Them. How long it takes 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 them to make it. The word to reduced. I keep a true T, but I make a schwa. Takes them to make it. Takes them to make it. So even though the sound before was voiced, I did not make that a flap T. Honestly, it's probably because I was speaking in front of a camera. And even though I don't mean to, I often speak just a little bit more clearly in front of a camera than I do in normal English conversation. It takes them to make it. It takes them to make it. It takes them to make it. To make it short, long, short. To make it. Stop T at the end because it's the end of my thought group. To make it, to make it, to make it, but it's worth every minute. But it's worth every minute. But it's worth every minute. My two most stressed words there, even though the word minute is one of the most stressed words, it still ends in a stop T because it's the end of the thought group. But it's worth every minute. But it's worth every minute. But it's worth every minute. But it's. These three words, said quickly, flap T connecting, but it's. And then I actually say a contraction, even though it's written out here as two words. I definitely reduced that into a contraction. But it's. Flap T linking the two together. But it's. It sounds funny on its own, doesn't it? But it's. However, in the context of the whole sentence where we have that against the longer, more stressed words, it sounds very natural to a native speaker. But it's worth every minute. But it's worth every minute. But it's worth every minute. It's going to be so great to enjoy a nice meal. It's going to be so great to enjoy a nice meal. It's going to be so great to enjoy a nice meal. Okay, we do have a couple reductions here, don't we? Going to, how did I pronounce that? Gonna. It's going to be so great. It's going to be so great. It's going to be so great. It's going to be so great to enjoy a nice meal. So great to enjoy, to enjoy. So here I don't reduce the vowel in to because it's linking into another vowel. To enjoy, to. However, it's still said very quickly, very much so unstressed. To enjoy, to enjoy. To enjoy it, to enjoy it, to enjoy it. The first vowel in enjoy is the I vowel, which is unstressed. And unstressed I and schwa sound the same. So if I had made this vowel into the schwa, there would be no definition between these two words. We would lose the word to. So that's why the vowel oo is not changed. It's because of the next sound. Now we have a true T connecting these. Great to enjoy, great stop, then release of the true T into the vowel to, great to, great to. Great to enjoy, great to enjoy, great to enjoy a nice meal catching up with these friends. Nice meal catching up with these friends. I didn't say the word and, did I? I wrote it in here, but I don't hear it at all. A nice meal catching up with these friends. 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 To catch up means to tell each other your news, tell each other what's been going on in your lives. We do this with friends or family that we haven't seen for some time. We catch them up on what has happened since the last time we saw them. Phrasal verb. Catching up with these friends. Catching up with these friends. Catching up with these friends. Up has a little bit more length compared to with these. It has a little bit more height to the pitch. Catching up with these friends. So I'm going to give it that little curve so that we know it was a little higher in pitch. Catching up with these, lower in pitch, less clear, and then friends. Catching up with these friends. Catching up with these friends. Catching up with these friends. The word with ends in the unvoiced th. It can be pronounced voiced, but unvoiced is much more common. The word these is pronounced with a voiced th. But when we have one word that ends in a consonant and the next word that begins in the consonant, if they're very similar, then they'll link together with one sound. And in this case, it's the unvoiced sound that wins. Unvoiced sounds are considered stronger than voiced sounds. So when S and Z link together, S, the unvoiced sound, wins. When unvoiced TH and voiced TH link together, it's the unvoiced sound that wins. So you can link these together with these, and drop your voiced TH. Just make one unvoiced TH consonant to link the words together. With these friends, with these friends, with these friends, with these friends, with these friends. Let's listen one more time. Tonight, David and I are going out to dinner with two friends, a double date. We both got sitters and we got a reservation at Park at 6:45. I already know what I'm going to get. They have the best French onion soup I've ever had. I don't know how long it takes them to make it, but it's worth every minute. It's going to be so great to enjoy a nice meal catching up with these friends. And now the imitation exercise. You'll hear each phrase 3 times. Then there will be a break for you to repeat it. Repeat it out loud and try to match exactly what you hear. Then I'll say it one more time and you say it with me. Try not to think about what you're saying and how to pronounce it. Instead, just focus on imitating what you hear. It's not a bad idea to practice this section several times. This is where you can really change some of your speaking habits. Tonight, David and I are going out to dinner. Tonight, David and I are going out to dinner. Tonight, David and I are going out to dinner. Tonight, David and I are going out to dinner with two friends, a double date. 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 We both got sitters. We both got sitters. We both got sitters. We both got sitters. And we got a reservation at park. And we got a reservation at park. And we got a reservation at park. And we got a reservation at park at 6:45. At 6:45. At 6:45. At 6:45. I already know what I'm going to get. 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 They have the best. They have the best. They have the best. They have the best French onion soup I've ever had. 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 I don't know how long it takes them to make it. I don't know how long it takes them to make it. I don't know how long it takes them to make it. I don't know how long it takes them to make it. But it's worth every minute. 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 It's going to be so great to enjoy a nice meal. It's going to be so great to enjoy a nice meal. It's going to be so great to enjoy a nice meal. It's going to be so great to enjoy a nice meal. Catching up with these friends. 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 Great job! If you want to see other Ben Franklin videos, check out this playlist. If you liked this video, please share it with a friend. That's it, and thanks so much for using Rachel's English. If you want to see my absolute latest video, click here. If you're new to the channel, check out this Where to Start playlist. Click here to subscribe. I make new videos on American English every Tuesday. To be sure we can keep in touch, click here to sign up for my newsletter. You'll get free lessons in your inbox every week.